Move on to the next speaker is Alberto Boaventura. He is the coordinator of the Frequency Commission of 5G Brasil and Network Strategy and Architecture Manager at the operator Oi. Alberto.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. And on behalf of Spectrum Commission, I would like to thank very much for the opportunity to be here to share some, some points that we deliver during our project here in Brazil. So, my presentation here is divided by, we are going to do like a brief overview what we are and what we are doing, and so after that to say some few words about what is the main points that we have had identified right here in the during our project. So let me try here. Okay, who we are? We are actually is a Spectrum committee from the 5G Brazilian project. And so our main vision is to provide a document that will be some orientation, how we are going to use the spectrum, what our expectation to use this. And so our committee also is composed by 40 experts. And these experts from different areas in Brazilian industry, from Brazilian operators, mobile operators, satellite operators, manufacturers, and like network manufacturers, and the chip makers as well, and the universities. So in order to provide our discussion here, we created some subcommittees, such as technology that is responsible to provide the technology background in our group, the forecast and demand in order to identify the use case and identify some demands that we are going to use in terms of what is Brazilian needs in terms of spectrum in the future. Regulation background is composed by the group that has a very good regulation background. And we divided in another committees that are responsible to study each part of a spectrum range, such as like below 1 gigahertz, mid bands between 1 and 3 gigahertz, and 3 and 6, and above 6 gigahertz or above 24 gigahertz. So, as I mentioned before, our main outcome is our report. This report is a complete vision about what we are willing to have here in the future, and even to support some orientation in eventually some decisions or in the international organizations. And so it's we have like a 5G overview, overall status of bands in the worldwide, in the Latin America as well, and even Brazil. Opportunities for spectrum and pain points. And for sure, our orientation and our recommendation as well. So let's say again some comments here. What happened in the how industry in general, and why we are going to move into 5G and need additional spectrum. Actually, our industry has a Schumpeterian nature, so that is evolving by these cycles. And so the new services, the old services is replaced by the new ones, and that's our nature, our industry. So so in the recent history, so we faced with internet, with a set of technology that are allowed to have a global interconnection with put all of country together and communicate together. The second wave that I mentioned is mobile internet that allowing us to have digital transformation by smartphone. Smartphone is impressive device that today is based on Mary Beaker from PCB is more viewer, more watcher than another device that we have in our home, like a TV and something like that. And right now we are in the middle of Internet of Things. So what allow to have Internet of Things is for sure this to have affordable solutions for such as device and network as well. For next stage, what 5G will dealing with reminder technologies is a tactile internet that we have experience, not audiovisual, not to see or to hear about the the information, but even to touch using the internet, to have like an immersive experience. So, 5G is in the middle of this, so it will be one technology that will allow us to have this new experience with new services as well. Oops. Okay, but there's no gain without pain. So 5G will impose us a lot of challenges, so that mainly related to new resources that we needed to have, like that will multiply requirement of a new resource by tens or by 100, such as new spectrum, such as new cell sites, such as backhaul and front haul. So I think that in the previous sessions we discussed about a little bit about this. But the main core of the 5G and the concern of 5G for sure is the spectrum. So this is the nature also of our operations, to have more spectrum, to have a new technology. So new spectrum, 5G to be a network of networks, and we are expecting to have a convergence of not services like a fixed line and wireless as well, but eventually the access like a terrestrial, like a satellite. Everyone in our industry are moving to have to support a piece of 5G in the future. So, but the spectrum for sure depends on the services, as 5G has its ambitions to be the network of networks and that to be everything under 5G. For sure that we needed to identify the spectrum that can match what is the requirement of each services. For instance, the coverage, we need below 1 gigahertz. Middle bands, as mentioned here before in previous sessions here, we could use it for capacity, but we could use it to improve our quality of some services as well. And for sure, above for 24 gigahertz, we need for capacity. And low bands, we have higher connectivity reliability, and a higher band we have low latency connectivity. And spectrum is something like that. It has a spectrum dilemma. With we are going to talk about the below spectrum. We have a short bandwidth, and a higher spectrum we have a larger bandwidth, and this is something like that we needed to have a special concern. System capacity is another thing that we needed to be aware, just because here in Brazil and some countries we have some barriers to have a new cell sites. So fortunately we have some laws here that allowing our operation, but we needed to have this deployed, this law effectively used here in Brazil. So if you have less cell sites, for sure we need more bandwidth to have the more capacity. And another thing that we needed to concern with, and so it's important to know that depends on the spectrum, it will be more applicable for some specific solution and reducing the cost and the capacity as well. So I'm going to go briefly to these slides, just because I have finished here. Spectrum below 1 gigahertz, for sure. This is for machine for Internet of Things, and we have a couple of opportunities right here. Is eventually to have like a cleanup of 900 megahertz. I think that we could use like 10 more megahertz, and we have like 600 and digital dividend that, but this subject is not not on agenda. Mid bands between 1 gigahertz and 3 gigahertz, we have some opportunities. 2300 is we are going to have we are expecting to have a new auction next year. Is in the public consultancy right now. And so eventually, not for 5G, but it could be used for mobile operational bands, and eventually to S-band as well. As mentioned here, I believe this to have a hybrid coverage using satellite in conjunction with mobile operations as well. Well, mid bands between 3 gigahertz and 6 gigahertz, for sure that we in all of the world are looking for to 3500. And in Brazil, it has been mentioned here that we have only 20 megahertz of spectrum, just because part of this band is used for broadcasters and for amateur radio. And another part of this spectrum here in Brazil is used for satellite C-band in the downlink. So another opportunity that we could eventually to thinking about is for sure in unlicensed spectrum. It should be interesting, as happened with LAA today in LTE, that we have a lot of spectrum to use to improve our capacity, but it is currently under specification in 3GPP. Above to 24 gigahertz, we have already the agenda from created in the WRC 2050, and to be decided what should be the recommended in the WRC 2019. So basically, what in our group we discuss and we are willing to have here is 26 gigahertz. Eventually to use like 40 gigahertz as a complementary spectrum, and 70 gigahertz to backhaul or for another functionality. 70 gigahertz to an license, and 80 gigahertz should be used for backhaul as well. So that's our complete message. I thank very much, and sorry about to be over here. Okay, thank you.